In the woods where the tall trees sway, Bigfoot stops, he's here to play. Grizzly Chris with a grin so wide, hiding behind the pine, he won't be denied. Hey Bigfoot, can we be friends? Bigfoot and Chris, friends for a day, playing hide and seek, running wild and gay. In the rain we dance, oh what a spree, together forever, just wait and see. Searching high, searching low, what a sight, laughing and dancing in the moonlight, camping out under stars that shine. Chris shouts, Bigfoot, come on, it's your time, let's find a way to make it last. Bigfoot and Chris, friends for a day, playing hide and seek, running wild and gay. In the rain we dance, oh what a spree.
Everybody, welcome to another edition. Barb and Tom cannot make it tonight. Sorry to hear that. We stay there, Mike. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fine, Grizzly, and we want to wish Tom well. I think Tom probably has some power issues with the storm up there in Washington State, and Barb is dealing with an illness right now. So we wish Barb a speedy recovery, and we definitely will miss them both because they add a lot to what we're doing, more than we can replace.
Absolutely. And also, don't forget to check out our Shopify store or website here. Welcome, Mary and Joey and everybody, Midwest. We got our new shirts in. Our pocket gemstones are on the site, and we got a lot of sales going on. So check that out. It supports our channel and our shows. So don't forget about that. And what's been going on with you, Mike? Anything new or interesting going on?
I wouldn't say interesting. I wouldn't say new. Just it's been a couple weeks of work. I know last week I shared with the outing I had on Veterans Day, and since then they've started the firearm deer season in the state of Missouri, and it's kind of like a couple of weeks of state holiday for half the population, and so Mike stays out of the woods during the firearm deer season, and I let those guys take it over. So it'll be probably after Thanksgiving before I'm able to get back out and do anything trekking around the woods. But so let the deer hunters have it.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah, I miss going hunting. That's for sure. I miss my deer jerky and everything.
You're like me in the school district that I work at is out. All the kids hunt and stuff like that, and I have students that they'll shoot me up some deer meat and provide me with some and stuff like that. So I don't have to get out and do it anymore. I let them do it, and I just stick with the Bigfoot research.
Right. So I found some reports from October from Fulton County, Illinois. He was a truck driver, and the witness account says, "I'm a truck driver, and I was doing my morning route when I noticed a very tall creature with yellow glowing eyes covered in dark brown fur, standing about 8 feet tall on Route 9 between Glassford and Canton, Illinois, near grassy fields and wildlife preserve, walking very near the side of the road as it was going to run to the other side, but noticed that the truck had stopped. Kind of yelled, but we definitely noticed each other when we locked eyes." Isn't that crazy?
That certainly is. So many people have encountered reports like that, and they don't. And these are not like us that know of the existence of Bigfoot and deal with it on a regular basis with these shows and the Facebook pages, the get out and field research. These are people that have no idea, and they have that first encounter. It's like really shocking to them. And for those, I'm just looking real quick at the map. Fulton County, Illinois. You're talking about in a very rural farm area west of Peoria, getting in close to the Mississippi River bottoms in northwestern Illinois, just to give you an idea of where it is. As the crow flies, Grizzly, you're talking about 60 or so miles from the area where my sister had her sighting in northeast Missouri about 7 or 8 years ago. So that it gives people an idea. The area where we're talking about is the very northeast Illinois, in the northern northwest Illinois, northeast Missouri, very squatchy area in the country. Not surprising at all.
Well, here's another one. This one is from Texas, and this starts out on February 14th, 2024. It says, "My wife and I have been working as park host at a campground on Lake Buchanan in Central Texas for the past few months. Today, February 14th, approximately at 2 p.m., we're cleaning one of the camp loops in the park. Our park's located at the north end of the lake where the water is quite shallow. The water level has been low for some time now, so part of the area is kind of swampy or kind of marshy, Well, while we were working, I heard my wife say, 'Oh my gosh, is that a Bigfoot?' I stopped and I laughed, and I was like going to look up, and once she was looking at or whatever she was seeing, sure enough, there was a large upright bipedal something walking in the marshy grass on the other side of the small channel of the water. The distance was about 150 yards. This thing was moving from left to right, I would say the sky was partly cloudy. Our initial view was unobstructed. At first thought, I was like, geez, that's a pretty big dude, man. I wonder why that the world was over there. Why in the world was he over there walking on the other side of the water in the muck? Because it's marshy. Next, I realized he appeared to be all one color from the head down. I couldn't make out any facial features or clothing or nothing at all. All I could tell for sure that he was very large and all black or dark brown. My wife and I were about 20 feet apart, talking back and forth frantically, not exactly trying to be stealthy at all. After a few seconds, this thing we were watching stopped, turned around, and looked in our direction. After a few more seconds, it turned and began walking again. But now he began walking away from us towards the other side of the taller grass and brush in the hills. My wife had her phone and tried to get some video, but you know how phones are. The camera isn't that great quality and it's not that good, but it's there in the video. But maybe we could enlarge it and clean it up. Maybe we can show everybody what we saw. But a couple of times over the past months, we've heard things up at night, up in our RV site. One night, it sounded like something was hitting the side of the trailer. Another time, it sounded like something was hitting across our storage base. By the time we grabbed a flashlight and personal defense items and get outside, we couldn't find anything. Are we going crazy, people? Isn't that funny?
Oh, yeah. And I love to hear the encounters of the first timers. The people that those first encounters. And, I feel fortunate. My first encounter was a set of footprints. So the set of footprints, that's uneventful, but it's tangible physical evidence of the existence. And then you start doing the math and say, okay, they're out here. So then, when you hear the sounds and the noises and the different things, you expect it because you've already seen that tangible evidence. These are people that they're having the trailer slapped, seeing the visual for the first time before any evidence whatsoever, and then they're like, "Oh, that's Bigfoot." Shocking. And I love to hear those people give their encounters.
Yeah. Here's another one. Again, in Texas. This is at the end of last year. It says on December 23rd at 9:27 a.m. And it starts out, I was driving west on North Farm Road at 1283 or on Road 1283 in Medina County, Texas. What was weird, I observed a very large, very fast humanoid running across the roadway. I think it was northbound. It was approximately 7 feet or larger, and it ran at an incredible speed across the two lanes. But what struck me, the profile looked like a gorilla. A gorilla, I say. But the morning and the moving, when I looked at it, it looked like a stride of like a man, but it wasn't a man. I had to turn around to look at the location, and I tell you, I found 2 footprints, and I had a tape measure in the truck. They were 18-inch footprints. The prints were formed on the ground, comprised mostly of clay and dry mud, but it was moistened. I don't know. I can't believe it. The toe prints were prominent features like fresh footprints of depth approximately 1 inch. Now, something that big, that heavy, and when I stood there on the ground, I barely made an indentation. Exactly. Nobody's going to believe what I saw. I took pictures. People made fun of me. But the upper torso, I'm telling you, it was huge.
Exactly. And you have to be prepared for the people to make fun of you. The people are going to roll their eyes at you. They're going to snicker at you. They're going to sneer at you. They're going to do that. But you stick with your story. You stick with your evidence. and you don't waver from it because there are enough people out there that know what you're talking about. I just saw Grizzly Russell Easterbrooks, our buddy.
Yeah, he jumped in the chat right there.
So I'm going to brag on Russell a little bit. People know I work in high school, deal with high school students, teach a couple classes. Most of the day spent administratively as an athletic director. But as I said, it's firearm deer season in the state of Missouri. So, you get in there, get to school on a Monday. And this was just 2 days ago. And the kids get in there and they asked me about my weekend. Did you go out and do any Bigfooting this weekend? I said, no. I said, you guys are out there with your guns, deer hunting. I said, I'm not going to go out there and do any Bigfooting. And then the subject comes up, the teenage kids talking again. What if we were to shoot a Bigfoot with our deer rifle? What do you think? And I said, well, I don't know, And one of the students says, well, I would think if I shot one in the eye, I think that would do enough damage to it that it would kill it. He goes in the head, the eye. He goes, it'd have to. And I quickly thought of Russell's book that had the encounter with Daniel Boone in it. And Russell, I brought that up. That's how Daniel Boone did it. And they're like, what? They're like, what? Daniel Boone? And then I was able to share with them this, just what I read out of Russell's book on the encounter, the story of Daniel Boone and his son, and then dealing with the Bigfoot, and Daniel Boone shooting the thing in the head or the eye area. And to kill it, when his son was unsuccessful shooting at center mass. And so Russell writes a book to educate the people. I read it, and then I, in turn, can educate the kids based on his, as this classic teaching and learning textbook stuff. So thank you, Russell, for sharing that with us. And all you guys got to do, if you don't have Russell's book, look up Russell Easterbrooks and on Amazon, and you can find it.
Yeah,
There's my plug.
I'm a big fan of Russell. Very big fan.
So, but I just saw his name in the chat. I thought I got to share that because this was just Monday. This was 2 days ago. I was able to share that excerpt out of that book with the students. And
well, speaking of shots, here's one. It starts out a large bipedal creature about 8 foot tall by our small travel trailer that my 17-year-old son slept in. That was parked down from our cabin, and my son walked down there every night to sleep. He had an arm over a branch of that tree of the trailer, and it was making a deep grunting sound, some kind of noise. We didn't know what it was, and he noticed a small, terrible odor. But he said the body was covered with hair, but not the face and the hands. The hands were very large. The skin was like dark tan light. The head came up to a point on top of the head, but not real pointed. The limb of the tree we measured was 7.5 feet high off the ground. We measured the next day, by the way, just to give you reference. The head came over the top of the limb. The creature head was seen to be dark brown or rust color. The creature attacked my son. He ran for the trailer door, and the creature tried to reach it out of his hands when he grabbed the door. My son was screaming very loud. We heard him at the cabin. My husband grabbed his gun and ran out. My husband saw what was going on. He ran to the trailer firing his gun. Bang, 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 bang. By the time my husband got down off the deck, off the cabin, the creature had his arm on top of the trailer and tore the roof air vent off by pushing his hand into the vent. 2 shots connected with the creature, one in the shoulder and one right off below it. My son said, Mom, waiting on me. Help me, help me. And it was watching and was trying to kill me, the son says. And they said there was blood evidence to prove it.
Boy, that's crazy. And I don't know. Sometimes they go on a little violent streak, and you wonder what the motive is on that.
Yeah, there was a .357 Magnum pistol used. There were blood footprints were found at the ground, on the ground the following next day. 2 investigators went out and documented the area. Neighbors heard the incidents next door. There were several bullet holes in the trailer for the dad were shooting. Well, I can say this. Luckily, the son didn't get shot.
Exactly. You got to be careful with that. And I don't know why. I mean, 4.5 years. I've had multiple encounters. Never an aggressive one. Never. Doesn't mean there aren't. Because I've mentioned on this show before, my son had an aggressive one, and dealt with it, and he was untouched, but it doesn't mean it wasn't an aggressive encounter.
No, and we heard of rogue ones before, and like Lori says, it could have been in self, protection mode. It could have been babies around. Who knows? We weren't there.
But you got to wonder the pursuing once the boy is in the trailer, the continued pursuit in that situation, because like I told my son, because we all found the evidence together in an area he liked to hunt at that time. He still lived in Missouri, and he's like, well, if I come across one when I'm hunting, I'll just shoot it. And I told him, no, don't do that. Don't do that. You'll it can not end well for you. And I, based on the research, all these these guys across the country, Facebook with, YouTube with them, and different things like that. The bluff charges. If Bigfoot wants you out of a territory, they'll let you leave. Just leave. They might throw something at you. They might be aggressive. They might bluff charge you. They might growl. They might sit, but you leave, they'll let you leave. And I told him that, and that's how his situation was. He as soon as he got to the field out of the woods, they left him alone. Scared him to death, but left him alone. But because once he got to the field, they quit pursuit.
Right.
And he had a rifle in his hands, but it was also before sunup. It was dark outside. And he had a very small flashlight. So, but so you wonder why the continued pursuit after the kid has already gone into the trailer in that situation. Who knows? A lot of times you don't get the whole story, the whole context. What were all the events leading up to that encounter? As to what would cause the Bigfoot to continue to be aggressive in that situation. So a lot of unanswered questions, and like people, they're probably more bad people than bad Bigfoots, but you're gonna have some bad apples and everything too. So.
No, absolutely. Here's another one. This is in Texas too. She starts out, I live on a wooded multi-acre property with a pond. I was leaving my house and beginning up my driveway, and I saw a bipedal man, but it was like an ape-like thing, and it leaped across my driveway in one step. I was confused. It immediately disappeared in the woods. It went from the left side to the right and disappeared in the woods so quickly, I couldn't believe what I saw. It was very tall, but the moment I saw it, it was literally in the air crossing like it never touched my driveway. Wow. I lived here for several years, and I'm very familiar with wildlife, and that's what confused me the most. And when I sit there and looked at it, the only larger animals are deer, hogs, and occasionally wayward cow, but I know it was no cow because cows don't fly. This was more than twice the height of any of those. It was shaped like a huge man, but like an ape. Definitely upright because I can see the legs, and had no clothes, definitely no clothes, and very deep black hair covering its body. I was absolutely caught off guard and confused, and I still don't understand what I saw. And what was weird is I kept driving up the driveway and I didn't see it again. I kept looking back. About after 2 years, two times in the middle of the night, I heard a whooping sound from various directions of the woods. We wondered what it was because it sounded more like an ape than anything else. Definitely not a boar or cattle. People who lived here all their life saying they said it was normal sounds that they heard all their life. But going by imitation, I feel like that it was hilarious because when people were questioning me why I'm asking about animal sounds, they just laughed at me, so I never brought it up again. Then today, this man-like ape thing leaped across my path. Literally was gone in seconds. I'm still processing it, but I want to look it up and report it before I look too foolish. And now everybody's making fun of me. So I just left it alone, and here we are. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People, a lot of them don't get it. And they think that, and they'll try to pass it off as, oh, you may have seen a bear, you may have seen this, you may have seen that. I'll share with you just over the weekend, they had during the firearm deer season over in Iron County, Missouri, which is a couple counties over from me to the northwest. This is actually very close to where I've done some research in Madison County, but it's up with Iron County. You're over in the foothills of the Ozarks, Mark Twain National Forest area, going over in that area, and a deer hunter shot a mountain lion. Okay, during the deer season, this over the weekend, and he got hold of Missouri Conservation and had them come check the mountain lion out, they're investigating it, making sure it was self-defense and all this other stuff, and the conservation comments that this was the 114th confirmed mountain lion sighting in the state of Missouri since 1994, in the last 30 years. And they make a statement. Mountain lions are very, very rare in Missouri, and they are only, we believe they are only passing through and not taking up permanent residence. Now, that statement from Missouri Conservation couldn't be further from the truth. Because if they have 114 confirmed sightings, how many more sightings out there that they don't know about?
Right.
Two of mine. I had two that I self-confirmed mountain lion sightings a couple of years ago, in back-to-back weeks. Probably the same mountain lion, but definitely the sightings, and I didn't report it to anybody. Well, so, and who are they to say that they're just passing through when you got people reporting seeing cubs, this, that, and the other thing, and that's why you get the ridicule on the Bigfoot stuff, because your wildlife officials will question you on the animals that we know are out there. You see it. You see a mountain lion, they'll question, oh, it's probably just misidentified dogs, or something in that case. Like you tell me that I don't recognize a cat face or a long tail when I see it, and so think why the treatment of the people that see the Bigfoots, just the ridicule with it. Because they'll ridicule the animals that are out there known, mountain lions, bears, things like that in certain areas.
Yeah. Well, it just goes to show, people's encounters like this, they don't realize what they see or comprehend. I read a report the other day. A person thought they heard hogs for several years making noises, and a person was like, "You know what that is?" They're like, "Yeah, they're hogs." And that's not hogs; those are Bigfoot sounds. And they about having convulsions because they were under the impression they were hogs making the noises and stuff. And it just goes to show people don't know.
Well, you get the same thing with the the alcohols. A lot of the alcohols are
Right.
Bigfoot. Yeah. Well, and people hear these things. We did this a couple years ago during one of the firearm deer seasons up there in the conservation area we go to. We went up there in the parking lot and just parked the vehicle. We weren't hunting. We just parked the vehicle, and his hunters come out of the woods toward dusk. Hunter comes out of the woods, Bigfoot yells. 5 minutes later, next hunter comes out of the woods, Bigfoot yells. Bigfoot's about 75 yards off the parking lot. He'd just give out a whoa, and we hear, and I know what I'm hearing. My partner knows what I'm hearing.
You got a student in the chat room, Mr. Scott.
I do. Whoever Kuliku is, well, hello there. And then when the last hunter comes out of the woods, same thing, Bigfoot yell. But they know how many hunters are in the woods. They know how many come to the parking lot, and that last one they count 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, now we can go roam the woods without worrying about getting shot at. And it's signaling. The hunters who are out there are all oblivious to this that's going on. All oblivious to it.
Oh yeah, absolutely they are.
And they're out there and they hear it, and it's really it's crazy. I'll say hi to Jazz. That's Jasmine.
Is that who that is?
So it says it's Jasmine. Well, if it's the Jasmine I'm thinking of, she graduated last year. So
yeah. Yeah, Blazer says they sounds around owls out here. It's like that time I heard that owl on Mary's back porch, and the nearest set of woods are halfway across the field. And you got to remember, owls don't have a set of lungs like that.
Nope. I mentioned this before in the show. A few years ago, just let the dogs out, and I live in a subdivision. And so I'm in the city, so I'm surrounded by houses. I let the dogs out. It's 4:00 in the morning. Barred owl hoots 2 yards away, and I sit there and I think, if I'm 2 more yards away, I can't hear it. That's the barred owl's lung capacity. So when you're out in the woods and you hear that real loud hoot owl go off from a half mile away, that's not a barred owl. That's a Bigfoot because of the lung capacity. So.
Yeah, Laser says the problem is that these owls don't echo triangulate either. That's right.
Right. So very true. Jasmine says she graduated in 2023.
Yeah.
What school was that, Jasmine?
That's the truth.
Because the Jasmine I'm thinking about.
And like he says, the dogs don't bark at owls either. That's right.
Yeah. Because dogs can recognize the difference there. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Alice, don't throw rocks.
or or in my case, hickory nuts. Okay, so Jasmine graduated from Charleston, so that was a previous school I worked at in 2023. So Jasmine, thank you so much for watching. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice to have you, Jasmine.
And I'm alive and well, still kicking. So thanks for tuning in.
And Linda was asking what topic you teach there, Mike.
I was telling somebody I'm kind of weird, Linda. I teach English, but I also coach. Not English teachers usually aren't the coaches, but so I'm one of the few coaches that will use correct grammar with my kids.
How
many of you guys have ever done that?
Right.
So I teach a couple English classes, and I'm also school's athletic director. So
yeah,
and I'm having fun doing it. So Jasmine, it's so good to connect with you again. It's awesome. So she said in the chat, I have to support an old teacher. Yeah, I'm old. I know
that. Oh, you're like a bottle of wine.
Previous teacher. That's funny. So that's great. So,
yeah. In California, we got a lot of teachers who do the same thing.
Yeah. So,
Linda, you ever had a teacher or a athlete director take a class of students out Bigfoot hunting? That's interesting.
Who's Blazer? Blazer comments says, "Oh, that's the guy that took the kids out from school to Squatch."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. And last week, Blazer. Last week, I went out on Veterans Day. I went to that exact same spot where the kids found and cast that footprint, in that exact same spot, and I found a 24-inch footprint. That's a 12, 13 foot tall Sasquatch in the exact same spot. Took a picture of it. Grizzly showed on the show last week, and I didn't have any kids with me, but I went to that exact same spot, found another footprint. So,
yeah, it was huge. And I'm trying to see. I'm going back through the. Here we go. And action. There you go. It's a nice print. How long was the stick, Mike?
Well, the stick, I've got it notched, and where the rope comes down, the first rawhide strand is at 24 inches. So that's like end to end in the footprint.
Yeah, well, that's huge.
Yeah. So, and the width is, we see the 24-inch print up there, or at least we see it from time to time. It's not uncommon to see it. We know where the travel ways are. Linda, just to give you an idea, I wear a size 15 shoe, and my foot is 13 inches long. So as far as inch proportion to shoe size, I have no idea what size that's looking at. That's 11 inches longer than my size 15-inch shoe.
Yeah, it is. That is a big boy.
And I'm 6'5". So if you use the Tom Cantrell math, and Tom is not here tonight, twice the twice the inches in foot and half the feet in height. My foot is 13 inches long. I'm 6.5 foot, 6'5". That makes sense. 24-inch Sasquatch footprint, probably 12 foot, roughly 12 foot in height, give or take. That's huge. And this is in Missouri. We're in Missouri, southeast Missouri.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
He's Blazer says they're like that here in Montana too. That's just crazy.
Yeah. So
she says her Bigfoot wears 18 and he's 6'1". Her boy Bigfoot. Her boyfriend.
Her boyfriend.
Sorry, Linda.
Well, he would have an unproportionately bigger foot than his height. It'd be like an exception, but still, that's probably 15 inches. So.
Oh Lord, that's funny. But yeah, that's a big print.
Funny thing, and this is why people don't find prints in the woods. When I come across that print, Grizz, I want to go back to that screen with the prints on there. When I got to that area, because this is a flat rock bottom creek bed, okay, and then in the middle of this flat rock bottom creek bed is a little bitty small gravel bar, where the gravel and the soil is soft, which is right here. That whole thing was covered with leaves, so you look at it, you cannot see where there's a print anywhere because it's all covered with leaves. So I thought, this is the exact same gravel bar that the kids found the print back in March. So I got my walking stick and started moving leaves around. And then we got to that crater there. Hey, what is this? Then you start uncovering the area of the crater. You get that big old huge footprint there. And I'm like, whoa, man, I'm a mile from the truck. I've got casting material in the truck. There's the reason I've got a walking stick with me. It's called a bad knee. So that's like, I just didn't go back and then come back and cast. I probably should have, though. I should have just sucked it up and done it. So.
Yeah, it's wild. And it's so defined too, you know?
Yeah, very defined. Yeah, Blazer is correct. The mid-tarsal break. The one we cast there was 17 inches long. And I took the students out. Here's a little backstory. I took the students out. I showed them how to track when we got out there, and then they went off, and one of the students found the print. She was the first one to find the print. Was an outstanding volleyball player. Graduated last spring, and she went to an area junior college to play volleyball. I saw her this last night at a she came back for a little basketball scrimmage at a neighboring school that our school was involved in, and she came back with a couple of her teammates. And I saw her, was talking to her, and I showed her this picture. I said, "This is the exact same spot that you found your footprint that we cast last spring." I said, "Back there just the other day." I said, "Much bigger print though," and so we got to reconnect on that. My walking stick is probably about 5 foot in length altogether, and I just I take it out with me to keep from my knee buckling on. I mean, then we'd have a time trying to get out. So.
Yeah, that's an exceptional find. It really is.
Now, Blazer asked a good question. What if they leave them there on purpose? Talks about the tracks. I don't know. Generally, this area is not a heavily inhabited area, even during the deer season. There's probably in that area of the conservation area, there's not going to be a lot of foot traffic. But as we got to the parking lot of that boat ramp, and we walked along the path to get to where we were going, if you look at the path, you see human footprints, you see some bicycle, mountain bike tire tracks, deer tracks, coyote prints, but no Bigfoot prints. But if you get off to the right, about 6 feet off the path into the taller grass, then you can start seeing the Bigfoot print and ditches in the grass as they're walking along that, just off the path, because they really don't want you to see their prints in a lot of cases.
Yeah, that's true. That really is. Unbelievable. Well, that's another show in the books, Mike.
I have one more comment I've had, because Blazer, Bigfoot are like, bet me I can make the human pore cement in my footprint. Bet me 5
deer.
Now, I've had, there's 4 or 5 of us. We go out together. Sometimes we're not all together at the same time, but I've had some of my partners cast prints and come back the next day, and the prints were gone. The prints were broken up.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. I was fortunate because we let our set overnight to get them good and hard before we try to remove them. Mine, back in the spring, they left there, and we came back and got it. Matt, my buddy Matt, cast one not too long ago, and they left there, and he came back and got it. But we've also had guys that had to break up. So sometimes I'm a very firm believer that Bigfoot knows that their print was cast, and they were coming back to get it. So
yeah,
they got eyes in those woods.
Yeah. Well, thanks for everybody tuning in, and thanks for Mike for joining tonight. And I hope Tom's doing okay, and I hope Barb feels a lot better.
Yes, definitely. And Jasmine, thanks for tuning in. It's good to chatting with you.
And from coast to coast, around the world, everybody. Good night. We'll see you on the next show. Godspeed, everybody.
All righty. Good night, everybody.